So welcome. Thank you for joining us. We know that many of you have already started school or are just about to, and we hope wherever you are in that process that you're well. I'd like to welcome Stephanie Archer from Brevard Public Schools. Stephanie is the Director of Open Enrollment for Charter and District Schools, as well as the Title IX Coordinator for the Elementary Leading and Learning Department. Stephanie, thank you for joining us today. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, we're so excited to talk with you. Stephanie and her team have been using Scrib Choice for years, and they've agreed to share, or she's agreed to share, the journey as well as how choice options have positively impacted their students. So, Stephanie, are you ready to get started?
I am. Lots of
Great.
details, just what you need.
Okay, great. I've got a lot of questions for you. So let's start with, tell us a little bit about Brevard County Schools or Brevard Public Schools.
Brevard Public Schools, as you can see by the map, sits in the Space Coast area. What's unique about us is that we are 72 miles long and skinny and only 25 miles wide, which presents us with some geographical challenges when we offer choice opportunities to our families. We have 73,326 students in the district. So unlike districts in other areas of the nation, we are not a community school board, but an entire county school board. We have 54 programs, 52 elementaries, 36 secondaries, 12 charters, and we just have an amazing graduation rate. We offer career and technical education, collegiate and dual enrollment, which is connected to our state college in our area. We offer adult education, virtual education. So we just have a myriad of choices for our parents and families.
Thank you, Stephanie. I definitely want to dive into a little bit more about those choice schools, the types of schools that you have in a second, but can you explain your role within the district?
Yes, as the director, I'm assigned to elementary leading and learning, although every portion of what I do is actually servicing all schools in the district. So it's not just the elementary leading and learning portion. So I supervise, monitor, along with our assistant director, our data specialist, and my secretary, the 12 charters, making sure that they are in compliance with statute and their contractual obligations, monitoring their student achievement and also their fiscal responsibility. As part of the open enrollment, this is statutory language that allows our parents to exercise a choice to go to a school other than their zoned school of attendance, which is based on their boundaries, their residential address. And that is a process that, quite frankly, we have so many different windows that I will explain later, that it's almost a year-long open process. I also am assigned supervising the principals of 9 traditional elementary schools as well. And then I'm also got the fun job of doing the Title IX coordinator for the entire district. So that's been an interesting adventure.
So you're not very busy then?
Now, I just sit around with my feet up eating bonbons.
Wow, that is a lot of hats, Stephanie. So with all those hats, right, and this great theme that we have of superpowers for our bird here, if you could choose any superpower, what would it be and why?
Well, jokingly, I told Bridget, with any superpower comes a consequence. And of course, often I'm out in left field. So immediately what comes to mind is, I want to be Catwoman. And they're like, wait a minute, that's kind of a villain, right? But empathy, intelligence, agility, athleticism. I just figured, hey, if I screw up one life, I've got 8 more, right? And I would look totally awesome in black lycra. So who wouldn't want those opportunities? But in all honesty, if I thought about a superpower, it would be to build empathy. I feel like that would control people's emotions, curtail violence, and really put people in other shoes. You know, I've worked with children before in my past as an elementary principal with emotional and behavioral disordered students, and they lacked empathy. They didn't understand when they were acting out towards another student, what that other person was feeling. So I think that's really important to changing the world.
All right. Well, Stephanie, I think I'm going to put you down for a different webinar on a different topic because that was great. That's a great answer. Brevard County, or Brevard, I keep calling it county, but Brevard Public Schools has a multitude of opportunities for students. So can you share how your choice system works? I know you kind of started to talk about all the different opportunities, but how does it work?
So the parents have, like I said, are statutorily, we're required to have choice opportunities in effect. And so when I first came into the office, there was certain language that was being used that was being kind of confusing to parents. So we shored up our language and we call it an ELO, an educational location option, which just means I want to go to a different location, a different school. I don't necessarily want any curriculum ties. And then there's the EPO, which is the educational program opportunity, and the operative word being program, where parents can choose, I do want a curriculum tie. I want for my child to attend the aviation technology. I want my child to participate in Cambridge. I'm interested in culinary. That's just, those are just one of the 54 programs I had mentioned. We operate with 3 basic windows throughout the year. And those basic windows start with our choice programs. We have 6 schools in the district that have absolutely no boundaries. And so any parent can apply to these schools. They all have a curriculum focus. In our primary, we have the arts, we have IB, International Baccalaureate, we have STEM, and we have science. At our secondary level, which are junior, senior high schools, those choice schools are college preparatory. So very, very rigorous curriculum. So we decided to have that window first. So because we get oodles and oodles of applications to attend those programs, and parents are just waiting on edge to see if they get a seat. And then if they don't get that seat, then they can exercise another option. So the second window we open is for secondary schools. That's our 7 through 12. That's our international programs, International Baccalaureate or Cambridge. And then we have academies such as business and finance, professional, one that's called HEAT, it's hospitality, entrepreneurialism, if I could say that word, and a few other things kind of all rolled into one. So, and those are academies that kids are with cohorts of students, and it's a 4-year commitment. And then we have our career and technical education opportunities, are usually a series of 3 to 4 classes that the children could take, drafting, auto mechanics, culinary. I could just go on and on with all the options that we have. We do have some singletary, such as aviation and water technology. We have HVAC. Again, some really great opportunities for kids to earn their industrial certifications that open doors for them and give them opportunities. And then our third one is just for our elementary. We have but one EPO, which is a magnet school, and all the rest of them are the ELOs. Those don't open until May because parents are often rising kindergartners. Parents aren't quite thinking about what they want to do for next year, and principals, quite honestly, need to close out the year before they can decide how many seats they have available to offer. And then lastly, after all of those applications close, because those are all lottery driven, then we open what's called a wait list, and they can apply to any one of those circumstances, but then they populate to the bottom of whatever pre-existing wait list we have from the lotteries. We also have a just moved application once we close it down in August for parents who move out of their zone but want to stay at the school. That allows for educational continuity. And then we have a process for new to Brevard. So if you're moving from Kansas City to Florida, it's after all these processes are over, then they have a process unique to them as well. So probably confused you all with all the various things, but it works for Brevard.
No, I think it's great that you have so many options for families. I mean, it sounds like there's something for everybody almost around the calendar. So what do you believe choice programs are necessary for student success? And if you do, why or why not?
Absolutely, I believe it is, because sometimes children need something that they're passionate about or interested about, something that will keep them in school, keep them focused. And it might not necessarily be what's offered in their school that's in their boundaried area. Students and families need that choice to find the fit for their family and their needs. And when I worked with the Career and Technical Education Division, that particular director had a statement that was, she called it exploration and elimination. And so a child could explore a program, and I can give you oodles of examples, say, hey, I want to try this engineering program. My dad's an engineer. I want to be an engineer. And so they get started in this program and go, ugh, it's not what I want at all. So that keeps parents from spending, not spending tuition money at the college level to have this aha moment. And it also shores up passion. They may find things in these secondary programs that they didn't think about. They're like, wow, this is great. This is just what I want. And a personal story of my own daughter who went both directions, comes home and she started in middle school in the Cambridge program because I insist on rigorous programming, which was wonderful for her. And then when she got to secondary or in high school, she's like, Mom, I hear Chef Tom is amazing. I want to take culinary class. I'm like, okay, sure, why not? So she took 2 courses with Chef Tom. Never once did she bring home a recipe. Never once did I find her in the kitchen. And she got a B in the class her sophomore year. And I'm like, you're done, child. This is not your passion, and you're taking the seat of another child. So that's an ongoing joke. And then she happens to she was a student athletic trainer for football all 4 years. And they had a certified nursing assistance program at the school. So wanting to be an athletic trainer, wanting to get into that medical field, she went ahead and joined the CNA program. That child talked about it all the time, the medical terminologies, the things she was doing. Her favorite part is when they dissected cat, and she would come home and show me pictures of Squishy, which is what she named her cat. I'm like, ugh, I'm gonna lose my cookies. I don't want to see that. But she was thrilled with it. Well, guess what she does today? She's an RN. So it was a perfect fit and an opportunity for her to discover what she loved. Now, she does like cooking now, but certainly not to the level of culinary. So that kind of gave her the opportunity to eliminate, explore, and confirm what she wanted to do. That's why I feel these choice programs are so critical for our kids.
Wow, that's a great story. So you have that personal story, and you get to watch all the kids kind of, live out their either what they think is their dream or move on to the next dream. I love that. So what's your favorite choice program?
That's the toughest question you have for me. There's just so many opportunities for our kids, and it's a personal choice. I love that our children have Cambridge and IB that start in our middle school and can go into our high schools where they can graduate with international diplomas, bright future scholarship monies to go on to college, that they have that rigor of hands-on, minds-on that go from one level of education into the next. I think my personal best, though, is one that we grew from the ground up, and it was called Launch Institute. Took a couple of years to make happen, but it is based on project-based learning. We built it from the ground up. The purpose was to engage that middle of the road kid. We had oodles of stuff for our gifted, driven kids. We had tons of supports for our students who were struggling, but the middle of the road kid was missing. And so we built that to entice them to really develop a passion for their learning, giving them hands-on experience, and very often found that students who jumped in here, who were the ones who were previously disengaged in their coursework, but suddenly were totally involved in what was going on. They were excited. We saw less disciplinary issues. We saw better attendance out of these kids. It was a perfect fit, but it did take a few years to develop. and the vision of the principal at that particular school and a set of core teachers that made it happen. But I think that's my personal favorite because it's one we helped develop.
Okay, and that leads me to my next question, which is getting these programs, these choices up and running takes a lot of work. So is the work involved for setting up all the process and flow and everything, is it worth it? Why or why not? Because you're talking about training and budgets and people saying, you know, yes, I want to do this work, and it's a commitment. So you think it's worth it?
Oh, absolutely. Beyond a shadow of a doubt, is it worth it? Lucky for us, my office is more of the pass through to get to some of these programs. We were able to help develop, but as a whole, it does belong with our career and technical education, which is under our secondary leading and learning, because we do have particular statutory requirements to offer courses. They have to be on a list from the state that have a high pay, high interest, high yield kind of a scenario. And then it is up to CTE then to put it into the particular schools, finding the funding for those things. But we have kids who graduate with so many industry certifications. When they do graduate, some of our kids graduate with their high school diploma, their AA degree, and 2 or 3 industry certs. And so they are hitting the ground running when they leave our schools. So definitely something, because it's the inspiration, the engagement, the passion, and the interest of the students that drives this kind of work.
Thank you.
And if you don't mind, I have another good story
yeah.
about a young lady who was in our HVAC program. And some parents are like, well, these programs are not for college-bound kids. They couldn't be more wrong. This young lady, HVAC, did her internship with our HVAC group in the summertime. She went on to Georgia Tech in mechanical engineering because the HVAC was a stepping stone. And she was able to have employment with an HVAC company to help her with her tuition and her livelihood. So amazing opportunities for kids to do something just like that and help themselves right away in high school.
Right. And for students that are not college bound and get into HVAC, I mean, in Florida, that's a necessity.
Absolutely a necessity. When the AC goes down around here, we're like, what to do?
So Scribbles, how has Scrib Choice made a difference in Brevard?
It's made a huge difference. Scribbles was elected prior to me coming into office. I believe we had a contract March of 2013, and then I came in July 2013, just as we were getting rocking and rolling in our processes. We get over 16,000 applications a year. Without Scribbles, we would be buried in a mound of paperwork. And there would be more human errors trying to get that paperwork to the sending school, the receiving school, the right approvals. And so the ease of processing that Scribbles has offered us has been tremendous. Not only that, it archives the data and the information. So it's easy if a parent has a question or they think maybe we're not being, we don't know what we're talking about. We can go back and go, oh, well, you did this application on this date at this time. And this is when it was approved. So there's like the time date stamps that are so important, especially when you come to lottery and parents are like, well, I was number 22 and now I'm number 23. What happened? It has to do with preferential treatment, and we can always categorize that within the process. And not only that, but Scribs has been a partner to us. They have sat with us annually to customize our pathways, share ideas that other districts or areas are using to expand our potential use. And so it's been a great partnership the entire time that we have been using Scribbles. That collaborative effort for improvement is priceless.
Thank you. Oh, that's so nice. That's so nice to hear. So because the paperwork is taken care of, or the process, all that, have you noticed that that's changed your relationship with families?
Yes, to a degree, because when at first we started with Scribbles, they had to start with an application fresh every year. And then a few years ago, working with Ron and Dax, we developed a family dashboard, which has been a saving grace. So they actually have an account that stays open as long as they have children. So they don't have to re-enter demographic information repeatedly for every child they have. And it allows them to track the applications they have in the system. What step is it on? Has it been approved? Has there been a seat offered? Where are we at on the wait list? It's all real time. And so that's been super helpful because now parents don't have to call the schools every time they have a question or call our office, because parents get excited about being potentially offered a seat. Okay, what number am I on in the wait list today? And then they'll call back tomorrow. What number am I on the wait list tomorrow? So it certainly has made it easier. Not only that, but the parents, depending on their schedules, can do these applications 24/7. So it's not just during business hours, and it really has made it easier. It's user friendly. It allows us as the office to coach families and walk them through. Sometimes we have to get into the backside of their family dashboard so we can see what they can see because they're not sure what they're asking. But certainly the training with the schools and the extended support that we're able to offer is critical.
Perfect. Thank you. And so we were talking about lotteries a little bit earlier, and you were talking about the pathways, how many pathways there are. So we all know that lotteries are really tough. And what would completing a lottery for Brevard look like without script choice?
It's rather humorous. So when I first came in, it was everything from ping pong balls to pieces of paper to some crazy electronic lottery that they just found online. No way to archive the results or what have you. We literally had to take to videotaping all lotteries so we could definitely, because we were being accused of shenanigans. And there weren't any shenanigans. We always had a group of people there. It was usually our school improvement councils as these names were being drawn in the various ways. But like I said, it was pretty humorous and it was different at every school. And really the only lottery that we first started with was our choice schools. And then we realized we really did need, once we got a hold of the electronic lottery through Scribbles, needed a lottery in everything we did. It was the only fair way to take 100 applications for only 50 seats, run them through a lottery and offer seats accordingly. Otherwise, it was people were waiting till 12:01 at night to do the app as soon as it opened. And, and then there was that bog down that happened. So it really has been extremely helpful. Another kind of story that goes to show you why this electronic lottery was so helpful. One year we had one of our choice schools think, well, we're going to kill two birds with one stone. One person starts at the top of the list of students. One person would start at the bottom of the list of students, and we'll process that one. Well, what happened was the kids at the bottom were overriding in the lottery and getting offered seats they shouldn't have been offered because they would have been way down on this list. This is a school that usually has 800 applications for 135 seats. So thank goodness for Scribs, because every student application is assigned this big long number as to what tier it belonged into, what number it was pulled. So we were able to, after cleaning up a mess and explaining to parents who were none too happy, come on in, we can show you how these numbers are assigned, and we will show you a printout. Obviously the names of the students were redacted, but that was awesome for us because it was an innocent mistake that now we, in collaboration with Scribs, now prevent that from happening again. But that was a disaster. But again, because it was archived and it was electronic and everybody did the same thing, it really saved our bacon.
Yeah, that was a creative thought though, to do from top to bottom. It was a thought. It was.
And had they called us, we would have said no, because we trained them how to process. But
they were trying something new, right? They were exploring, and then we
eliminated it.
We eliminated it. I have one last question for you, and that is, what would you say to others that are considering Scribbles, script choice?
Scrib Choice is amazing. I know that there are other companies out there that do the same thing, but it seems they want to nickel and dime you to death with any kind of customization of what have you. But we would be extremely overwhelmed without Scrib Choice. We would not be able to provide the amount of customer service that we're able to do. It is wonderful technology that is really quite easy to use. We love it. But since the moment it came into this office and with the customization, we have been extremely successful in its use. And I think that's the key thing, is that level of customer service. When we reach out to Scribs and say, hey, we have an idea, trust me, they've been down this road with us. And I always get a harebrained idea. And then Christine would say, Stephanie, that's not possible from a technology. I'm like, why not? So, then I'd have to get somebody to explain it to me. But that customer service, when we want to tweak something or just change language, or we have a new pathway, truly has been amazing. And because they're so well known in other districts, then they can come back to us and say, hey, we have this new way of doing things. We're going to share it with you. What do you think? Do you guys want to adopt this too? And so that really has shored up our process as well. So even though we've not used any other company but Scribs, I highly recommend them. People have snooped around at other things, and I stand by Scribs true and true, because I just know what they've offered us.
Well, thank you, Stephanie. That is so great to hear. So as we wrap up today, I want to say thank you to Stephanie and her entire team for being such great partners in this work. And it's hard to believe that Brevard has been working with Scribbles for, it sounds like, I think there might have been something that was started before Choice, like
Right.
order, right? So for 10 years. So we're very thankful for you and your team. Thank you to everyone that's joined us here today for the webinar. It's been recorded. We're going to post it on our YouTube channel. And again, a very special thank you to Stephanie for her time and her wisdom. And we hope that everyone has a wonderful week and a great start to the school year. Stephanie, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thanks, Bridget. I really have enjoyed it. People are free to contact me if they have any kind of specific questions as well.
Oh, they will be doing that, I'm sure. We appreciate it too. Thank you so much.
Everyone, have an awesome school year.
Thanks, Stephanie. All right, bye everybody.
Bye.
Thanks.